Welcome back to the AI Ripple Effect podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Paige Harper, the National Account Manager at Raymond Corporation. Paige, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited and happy to get this going.
Well, very much looking forward to it too. So why don't we start by you telling us a bit more about yourself and your background, and then it'd be great to hear a bit more about what you do at Raymond and who your typical customers are.
Again, my name is Paige Harper. I'm a national account manager for the Raymond Corporation. That includes sales and service and anything that our customers need. My background, I have about 10 years of material handling experience. Started with our regional dealership down here and then ended up working for our corporate office now. Previously, I was in hospitality, so a lot of customer service, and obviously that applies a lot today.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you for that, Paige. So we like to kick things off on the podcast with a bit of a broader view from our guests on what are you seeing out there in terms of more general trends. Could you pull out a couple of themes that you're seeing having a big impact, particularly in your world of intralogistics in North America right now?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. So, we kind of started seeing robots and things flying over our heads about 10 years ago when we were going to our trade shows. We have one a year and they're massive, either in Atlanta or Chicago. Definitely sort of the beginning of interlogistics and automation within that space. Obviously, we've seen conveyors, basic racking systems for a long time. Changed in a lot more to the e-commerce realm. And we saw a lot of need for picking and packing goods to person versus full pallet in, full pallet out is what we've saw in the past. So definitely a lot more automation and the need for automation as our orders got smaller.
Okay, interesting. And when you're working with your clients on warehouse transformations, how do you decide which processes should be automated first? And where do you see the biggest AI integration opportunities?
I think the first thing is understanding their current process. We've found with automation, it's not going to make your process better if you are currently using a bad process. So we don't want to take a bad process and then throw a bunch of money at it to automate it. And now it's an automated bad process. So that completely negates the need for automation if we're not getting the proper output from it.
Great. Excellent. And you got some pretty smart technology, particularly on the telematics at Raymond. And how is that data intelligence or using that? How is that shaping your relationship with your customers? I mean, what are they discovering that they never knew about their own operations, for example?
I think the main thing that we're seeing a lot is they're not understanding their inefficiencies. And these sales take a long time. They take a year to 2 years to even get to where we're feeling comfortable quoting, consulting on a good automation system that's going to help them. Sometimes we're going in and simply implementing telematics on just forklifts to see what their forklifts are doing, to see how those are picking, how their operators are moving, the inefficiencies within those. And then with that information and data, we can go in and develop more systems. Again, are we doing a lot more picking and packing with e-com, or are we doing a lot more pallets? And with each of those discoveries, we are able to go in and consult and let them know what they are needing. We've got some, to your point, we've got some really cool systems, some full pallet in, full pallet out, automated systems. We have huge Cardex machines that basically bring all the goods to the picker. So opposed to using ladders and shelving, we have one person that's able to pick all these small pieces. Huge ASRS systems, again, that are bringing goods to people in a much better space than, again, what the typical was shelving or pulling full pallets down using order pickers. So it ends up being a lot more efficient.
Great. And I think you touched on this in the last question, but we're saying AI is transforming how data is being collected and analyzed, but it's also got a huge potential to highlight business insights. How is that something you're seeing, Raymond? Are you seeing that with your customers as well?
Yes, absolutely. And, I feel like material handling is it was a prehistoric business for a long time. We saw a lot of papers, we saw a lot of Excel sheets, just really, really pertinent data that was not being properly analyzed. A lot of these businesses are homegrown. So being able to take that data using a lot of AI, that's maybe one of my favorite uses for AI, is taking those TD papers in Excel, putting them all into one big picture as to what we need to be understanding with that data and allowing us to build systems to create better processes. And again, really using that data to benefit the customer.
Fantastic. One of the big and recurring themes in our podcast series is the interplay between AI and the need for the human touch, if you like. In your experience, where does AI excel in logistics, and where does human judgment remain irreplaceable?
Absolutely. One that I really, really love to touch on. I think there's two things here. Is automation going to take our jobs? Are they taking our jobs? And then where is the need for the human connection? I got a pretty good example the other day. I took one of those automated cars, driverless. It was really, really cool. We were excited. Great app, very similar to Uber, showed you where the car was coming. We paid on that. Car showed up when it said it would. And as we were driving, I'm with my girlfriends in the middle of a city we don't really know. Says, "Hey, car's got an issue." Pulls off into a random industrial area, and that was it. And then it said, I think it was either a technician or another car could be here in 45 minutes. There was nobody to call. There was nobody to talk to get me and my friends who were essentially stranded on the side of the road. So as we obviously went and called Uber. So the driver came and saved us and took off. And it's one of those things. If an Uber just pulled over and dropped people off for essentially no reason, that would be absolutely unacceptable. But we didn't have anyone to talk to. We didn't have anyone to complain to. We just had to go and figure it out. And then at the end of the day, we ended up calling customer service, and the customer service was a person, and they were fantastic. Obviously apologetic for the situation. They refunded us for the ride. And, then that second human connection again came and saved the day.
That's a great analogy. And would you say that you're adopting that kind of approach at Raymond and your relationship with your customers and clients and as a business as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my jokes that I always say is I don't really have any technical skills. All of my strengths and skills are really, really soft skills, interpersonal, making relationships, fixing problems, understanding problems before they're delivered, working with my customer on that. And I think some of those things just cannot be automated. A lot of just sales in general, customer service, a lot of these projects that we're working on, a lot of these big buys, it's an emotional process. It's an emotional purchase. So being able to understand the emotions that go behind that when they're making these huge purchases or making these huge decisions, getting consultation experience from what I have and what my team has, it helps within that process. Some of those things I probably wanting to, but I don't think they can take over that for a while. Another example, how many times have you gone in to call customer service, whether it be your credit card or whatever it might be, and you get an automated system? You immediately get frustrated, or at least I do. Maybe it's me. Even though these automated systems have advanced quite a bit, you're still frustrated by it, and you're sitting there pressing zero, and then you finally get to a person or not, you get it worked out, but then you sit next to the person next to you. Oh, this is an automated system, so when there's issues, again, when there's emotion involved into fixing a problem or buying something new, I think the human connection is something that we can't replace.
Absolutely. Sort of look at, I mean, the pace of change is pretty eye-opening and rapid. As a business, how are you sort of trying to manage that so that you're investing now to kind of stay ahead of your clients' future needs? And where does AI fit into that?
Again, I think a lot of the data analytics, and we have systems that we're putting on forklifts that are showing us your lift and lower rate when operators are hitting racking. And then after that hits that racking, how can we take that data and be able to do proper training? This is a really cool thing that the Raymond Corporate did. We recently launched our virtual reality trainer, which it's really neat process. It's cool whenever, you're hiring your Gen Z or your millennials, and they're seeing this cool training process. So we are able to put those people on the virtual reality trainer. They're getting an idea of, good processes, good procedures. There's learning modules on there. And then when they actually get on a forklift, we have found that they're, probably over 50% more comfortable on the lift than they would be if we just threw them on a $10,000 or 10,000 pound machine.
Fantastic. And one of the questions we like to ask our guests on the podcast is, with the benefit of hindsight, and let's say if you had a time machine, what would you do differently, Paige, if you went back, say, 12 months ago?
Regarding what?
Well, I guess in a professional, in your position with the company, is there anything that in that 12 months that you might have approached differently, perhaps using AI a little bit differently, or in terms of your interactions with your customers, for example, maybe, and it could be anything really.
Sure. It's funny. Just the a basic chat GPT. You see a lot of people using it. I was always kind of against it again with such soft skills and the ability to go on LinkedIn and say what's going on and spin that in a good way that humans like it. I've started using ChatGPT with probably the past month or two, a bit begrudgingly at first, like, I don't know. But then I really saw if I'm going through fast as can be, writing an email with whatever it might be, I'm able to go to GPT and say, hey, make this more professional. Because I probably just went on a full rant. Hey, make this a little more precise. So that's probably something I would have implemented a lot earlier. It helps a bit with problem solving. What I really like about ChatGPT, you get an idea, it'll give you a response, and then my creative abilities can go off of that and really create good content for, again, whether that's emails, LinkedIn, I mean, even day-to-day life.
Great, excellent. And the last question is about AI. And on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not at all, no confidence, and 10 is total confidence, how confident are you that AI will create a measurable value for your business in the next 12 months, and then looking a bit further down the track in 5 years?
For my actual business or implementing that within customers?
Well, in your own role, let's say, and if you can apply that to Raymond Corporation as well, that would be great.
Sure. So again, my role is a lot of essentially it's sales and customer service. We're seeing a lot of need for AI and a lot more automated systems and processes when it comes to aftermarket. So when it comes to service, when it comes to part ordering, part delivering, I think we are going to see a big change in that. We do again to go in and allow our technicians the jobs that we just haven't replaced yet, or we just can't really replace, allowing our technicians, allowing our customer service, and allowing our customers. It's not quite as a value added process. So we want to take AI, we want to, replace data analytics and ordering things like that so that we can take our employees and put them in more value added positions.
Fantastic. Paige, many thanks. That's been a great conversation with loads of great insights for our audience. If the folks out there watching want to get in touch with you, where should they go? What's your kind of social websites, etc.?
Absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn. That's probably where you're going to see a lot of visibility for me. Again, it's Paige Harper. I work for the Raymond Corporation. And if you want to send me an email, it's paige.harper@theraymondcorp.com.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure to drop those into the description of the podcast as well. So thanks again, Paige, and thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll see you on the next edition of the AI Ripple Effect. Thank you.